Is Jamaica safe? What do you think, Beth?
Of course.
Of course, he's gonna be biased because he's Jamaican. But this is a question we get asked a lot, especially as citizens of Jamaica who are living in the US. And, over the past few weeks, there have been so many instances of crime and violence that have surfaced in the media. And, we want to do something about it. And that's when we came across the YouTube video Jamaica with Irie on solutions to crime. And basically, she was just presenting some of the Ministry of National Security's 5 pillar strategies for crime prevention and citizen security.
Hi, everybody. My name is Irina, and I personally do not have the solutions to crime in Jamaica, but I have a few ideas I would like to share with you and hear your opinion.
This is our opinion. Here are the 5 pillars that she presents. She's talking about the police force on a whole, the bring to justice, social development, environment, reintegration, and she added a 6th one called the media. What do you think about these crime prevention strategies?
Yeah, well, I think these 5 pillars are really, really good. Apparently, they've had these since 2014, but the PDF came out 2017. Every 7 years, actually, they have a new initiative that they come up with. So 2007, 2014. So we're assuming that 2021, this year, September, around that time, they'll come out with a new crime strategy. But this is what they have right now. The reality is that media plays a very, very, vital role in our culture. Right. It's a tourism economy, right? So you can imagine, media as well as advertising or even the music, the richness of the culture, everything plays into media. And so shouldn't that be a part of the strategy as well if we're really trying to have, just lasting change to, solutions to crime? I think that's pretty important.
Yeah. Don't give it all away.
Well, that's true. I'm just saying, I'm excited about it too, right?
Yes, I am. And we're very, very, very excited and all of the emotions because we want to really break down some of her comments in these videos.
The work with the media, like journalists, film directors, musicians, they're absent from these pillars, and yet it's their job to influence public opinion by promoting good things, encouraging good actions, creating role models, that kind of stuff. Foreign media can say whatever they want about Jamaica because they have their own goals. Right. But here, locally, the media should aim at helping Jamaica to be as successful as possible. Isn't it what Jamaicans want?
Of course, it's what all Jamaicans want, whether we're living in Jamaica or working abroad. And so media needs to be a part of the crime strategy moving forward. And we hope that this year we'll see that addition as well.
I love her reaction when she says, other media.
Yeah, they can say whatever they want, but the reality is, we and our supporters, right, we want the best for our country. And so I think media being included is a very important, pillar that should be a part of it too.
Yeah. Let's check out some more.
We need to understand the reasons why people commit crime in the first place, and then eliminate these reasons. Very straightforward. Why is it so difficult then? Assuming the governments are doing their job right, it's still difficult because of 2 factors. One, there are hundreds of reasons that can make a person turn to crime.
That's true. That's true.
She hit the nail on the head there.
There are a lot of reasons why people turn to crime. For me, growing up in Jamaica, going through the educational system, primary school, high school, I had a lot of friends who didn't finish primary school or who didn't finish high school for a number of reasons. Those reasons included maybe the main breadwinner for the family not being able to provide anymore, or maybe they were living with their grandparents, so they're too old to provide, and so they had to be the main breadwinner or the main provider, or the pull of whether it's drug trafficking, scamming, whatever deviances there were out there that were attracting them away from education. It's unfortunate that was their reality, but there are a number of things. Anything you experienced?
I think at the end of the day, it all boils down to choices, because Dave's talking about his friends and all of that, but in reality, we had the same story. We grew up in poverty. I remember in high school, I had to walk to school, put my shoes in my bag when it's raining, pretend like I'm not hungry when it's lunchtime. Like, I could go on and on and on. At the end of the day, it's all about choices.
Yeah, and I think though it's a bit, sometimes more than just choice. You're talking about the environment you're raised in. Does the environment affect how an individual, a youth turns out? And of course, yes, there is choice, but there are also really strong pull factors that can sway that choice. And so there are a number of reasons. So we do agree.
Yeah, my friends were the most important thing to me in high school.
Yeah.
And looking back now, I wish I was a lot more balanced. Your environment, not only your home environment, but your friends. And as teenagers, ooh, child, yeah, they run your life.
And this, of course, brings me to factor number 2. Solving crime is so difficult because it's a very long-term project. The reasons for people to turn to crime begin forming in childhood. So the actions people take today will have an effect on crime in about 15 years from now.
A lot of times when we see the strategies that our government put out for solving crime or solutions to crime, they're really short-term, goal-oriented. But the reality is that, as Irina said, solving crime is a long-term process. It takes a longer investment than just 4 years or 8 years. This needs to be a goal that is adopted by any administration because it's for the good of Jamaica, especially as it relates to investing in the youth of today who are going to be the leaders of tomorrow. And so I think it's really, really important that we recognize that it will take a long time and be willing to be intentional to put that effort in. Next, Irina talked about why is crime falling in some countries but not in others. Take a listen.
From 1960s, crime rates were going up in most countries in the world, including Jamaica. However, in 1990s, something happened that made crime rates fall, but only in the so-called first world countries.
Wow, that was some really interesting research that she posed in this video. I encourage you, go and check this video out. It's very interesting.
The link will be in the description.
But just to summarize this section, she was just making a distinction between developed and the developing countries. And here she was showing that developed countries, they reduced crime because they first got the internet. If you listen a little bit more, she gave some very interesting data around this. And then she introduced the concept of how some video games, including violent video games, have a role to play.
Now compare with the same guys in first world countries. They play computer games, including the violent ones. Doesn't it supposed to drive violence up, by the way? These games, they should contribute to increase of violence in real life for sure, right?
I really think that there are other factors that come into play. There has been research and there are incidences, even in America, where individuals who play violent video games afterwards are led to go out and commit those acts in real life. Now, of course, the argument can be made that there are other factors. So, maybe it's violent music being played, maybe, they're under the influence, whether it's drinking or some kind of narcotics. But I do think that maybe even in a small way, violent video games do contribute a little bit to that. But again, it's probably not by itself. I think it's really important that even though we emphasize how internet can help, we also recognize the influences negatively that it can also have.
But I'm telling you, the points you made are so valid because she was here talking about the fact that young men in that age bracket, they play video games to prove their worth, to compete, to gain some money, even build a career. And I see that happening. I think you were talking about how Jamaicans view the internet and connection.
Yeah. So for us, growing up, when we think about the internet, we usually connect it with education, right? We didn't have any computers in our homes. As a matter of fact, in my community growing up, I knew one family that had a computer. With the coronavirus, there is a big push to try to get tablets and devices to primary and high school kids so they can continue their education. And so now the conversation is coming up. Wouldn't it be amazing if, in addition to furthering education and virtual learning, to also have the impact of decreasing crime? And that would be awesome. And so I think that's something to be considered as well.
Yeah. When it comes down to the internet, it's a very tricky issue because I look at this whole situation from a Western country girl perspective, and even thinking about my niece who is still in high school and how she has to still use her WhatsApp phone to get her assignments done. In some places, phones don't even pick up properly. So I don't see the internet per se having a huge role to play because of connection issues.
Okay, so infrastructure challenges.
Infrastructure challenges, I think, is going to be a big hindrance where that is concerned. But I am seeing, however, where the culture of Jamaica is being a lot more open, or people are using the media or the internet to make money. Rise in YouTubers, people on TikTok, on Instagram that are actually using the internet to make money for themselves. So not necessarily video games per se, but they're using the internet in other ways to be successful.
Right,
so.
right. And those individuals are in the age group 17 to 35, and
That's
so
true.
Right, they're finding productive ways to do that. Irie did mention that the young men in that age group do have a lot of free time, and so they're out. And of course, devil finds, work for idle hands kind of thing. And so
It's a phrase in Jamaica.
Right, so
explain it.
yeah, so she did mention that as well. And so that is a valid point. So, going back to the 5 pillars, I think it's important when you think about social development to have activities, to have intentional work for individuals those age. There's so much to do as it relates to community upliftment and being able to, whether it's clean the areas or whatever. There's so much to do, and they're free individuals. And so if we don't engage them in productive work, then what do we expect them to do? And so there needs to be some intentionality on the government side, on the community side, so that we all can move forward our country together, free from violent crime.
Yep, takes a community effort.
Yeah.
Indeed.
At the end of the video, she mentioned some questions. We're going to answer one of those questions. All right, here we go.
Now, my questions are to our advisory board, our subscribers. Question number 1. What do you think about this government program, the 5 pillars strategy?
What do you think, babe?
Well, again, I think it's a great start. All right, this was from 2014, and we found a PDF 2017, and this is 2021. And so I think, to be honest, 7 years is probably too long a period in between having a discussion on strategies. And of course, I guess it has to do with public and administration change kind of thing. And so that might be a reason. But I think we need to revisit the strategy more than just, 7 years, at a time. And so I think it's a good strategy. I really like the component about the social development. I think that's really, really important. Because again, I think that's where the long-term investments will be. And so, I think that's great. I like the other pillars. I just want to focus in on that one. And I do know that there are a host of organizations that are working to aid in particularly the social development aspect of it. The reality is, though, that the individuals that work for these organizations, they get burnt out really easily because either there's not enough compensation or not enough support, or the task is just so great as it relates to the investment and the time commitment that it will take to effect change. And so I think if we can give greater support to workers in these organizations, then we can see lasting change that will begin now and reap great results in a few years from now.
Those are some good points. Personally, I think that, as you say, it's a start, but zoning in a little bit more on some of the pillars are very important, I think, to resolving crime. For instance, bringing to justice. That element, I think, is very, very crucial, because here I see if the government should bring to justice people who are found guilty of the law, whether you are in the government itself, blue collar, white collar,
at any level.
At any level, you
Right,
should be
right.
held accountable for things that you do, because again, I think that's not happening in Jamaica. So that
Not enough. It's not happening enough. Yeah.
yeah, so that part I really think should be addressed a lot more. And also the socioeconomic development, is that
Right,
it?
yeah.
As well as the environment. If they delve a little bit deeper into those pillars, we can have success in them. For instance, I just read an article from the Academy of Management journal by by Tracy, and I don't remember the other gentleman's name. And basically, in this article, they were talking about making a change from behind the mask, how organizations challenge guarded institutions by sparkling grassroots activism. In this article, they basically were able to disrupt this nationwide practice of childhood marriages in Indonesia.
Okay.
And they were able to do so by non-profit organizations, but at the same time, overall, I think grassroots approach to crime is very important.
That makes
Start
sense.
with the communities, find out what are the issues specific to the individual communities in Jamaica.
Right.
And then little by little, I think this will have a larger effect on the society at large. So taking a grassroots approach, all of these MPs and JPs who are responsible for different communities, take a more active role in your job. And I also think the church have a more active role to play.
True.
Because many times I'm a part of the church organization. We're out there preaching for people to be baptized and everything, and yet in our daily lives, we are not showing the love and all of these values that we are preaching about on Saturday or Sunday. So these are also things that I think can make a change. Start acting the part instead of just saying it from a spiritual perspective, and taking a grassroots approach and bringing people to justice.
Very good. So having the pillars, but also implementing the pillars on a practical grassroots level.
Yes, I think they are great. It's just to delve a little bit deeper
Very true.
inside of the framework that's already there.
Yeah, and I think, this is one challenge to anyone listening to this video. You're in Jamaica, wherever you're having the challenge of finding solutions to crime, get to know the names of the people around you. We want to effect change in the lives of these young people, 17 to 34, 35. Get to know their name, get to know, their hobbies, their likes, their dislikes, what motivates them, what are their dreams, what do they want to accomplish in life, right? Because I think if we can interact with them on that level, then they'll start trusting us. So when we suggest certain things, whether it's a lifestyle change or picking up a skill or going back to school, they'll listen to us because, one, they know us, they trust us. We're not just there when it's election time to get elected to office, but we're there constantly. And we're being intentional, recognizing that this thing is relational, and it'll take a long term. So I think these things will definitely aid. It's only the beginning of the conversation.
Yes,
We want to be.
it's a lot more. And Irene did mention that this will be a series of videos that she will
She'll
be
have
releasing.
more videos, and we'll be reacting to more, right? But we want to be positive instigators in having a conversation towards finding real solutions to crime, particularly in Jamaica.
And in addition to what you said, I know you were more talking about it from a government perspective and listening to the youth, but I think even regular citizens like you and I, if you're not in Jamaica,
I'm talking to you
but
too,
you did
right?
mention you, so you
everybody.
as in anyone. So even if you're not physically in Jamaica at the moment, you have a cousin. It starts in your immediate family. You know of that little wayward cousin who is on the edge of scamming or thieving or whatever. You can reach out and have a more, have a more active presence in that youth's life. And, it starts from there, And then, I don't know, for me, it branches out beyond my family to my high school, which is also in a very secluded and rural area. I'm a part of the alumni association. And so, just being engaged in what's going on in your community. And don't forget where you're coming from. So if you're successful now and you can contribute to sponsor a child or some child or family member in your family that have potential. I know personally I would not be here if it were not for the advice and the mentorship of my high school teacher, Mr. Edwards, and I can think of so many others once I moved on to college and so on. Or even family members who randomly decided that they're going to assist with my tuition, not necessarily, being physically present, but providing a need if it's needed.
You have believers.
These are things that you can literally do, and I think it starts with the small things. So.
Yeah. So again, be a part of this conversation. We're so thankful for Irina starting this series, and so we want her to continue, and we'll keep reacting to it because we think and supporting our channel, because we think that there has to be something intentional that we're doing together.
We're not saying that crime defines our country, but we are saying that we are reacting to it now because it's something that's on our hearts, and it just hurts us, you know, because there are other things about us, the people, the food. Oh my goodness, we could go on and on. Thank you for hanging out. Do you want to say anything else before we close out, baby?
Thank you for hanging out with us. Right? Please, again, we want you to be a part of this conversation. What do you think are some solutions to crime in Jamaica, in your home country? How can we find principles that have worked in other countries apply to our own? And so thank you again for joining us.
Join our family by subscribing. We have content that we think will be useful to you. So
let's talk.
Let's talk.
Please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you soon.